Hey YouTube, how y'all doing out there? It has been a long time since I came on this amazing channel. I've been cheating on Clubhouse, right? But I've been thinking about a lot of things and doing a lot of studying, of course, with the cards. And I've been working on the Sun card because that is what we come in as. And as we look at our life path, those 13 cards, including the sun card, I believe if we don't get to the root of things, it's going to be difficult for us to get the best out of each one of those frequencies because each one of those cards has a frequency. But the sun card is the frequency that we're born into. So, what is your sun card? That's so important. The energy, whether it's a diamond, it's a heart, it's a club, it's a spade, it's a five, whether you're sitting in Mars and all of the attributes, we get a chance to really get deep into the core meanings of who we are when we look at our sun card, right? And of course, I wrote about it and what the sun card feels like. Sometimes, we come here with different experiences. And, like, say I'm an eight of diamonds. I can meet someone that's an eight of diamonds, but they're not going to have the same experiences. They weren't born in the same family, the same community, same socioeconomic status. So, all of us are going to have different experiences. And then the planetary ruler plays a part. So, although every experience is differently, it carries a universal emotional signature. That's what's so deep about our sun card, that it carries a signature. And sometimes we could be shrinking. You feel a need to become smaller, dimmer, quieter, and more acceptable. Because being born into a family, and I find that most people that are into esoteric sciences, cardiology, astrology, numerology, any of those sciences, they were born into a family to help break some of those things that families continue to do all of the time. Those what we call generational curses. But in our first 13 years, yeah, it's kind of hard because we're mirroring the caretakers that are, we were born into, our parents, our siblings, and we're trying to figure it out during our Mercury years. We're trying to say, yeah, I don't know if I really belong here. Or, just feeling, I felt different. You know what I mean? I was at home, but I always knew something was off. I always knew that there was something that I came here to discover outside of what my mother was trying to get me to discover, right? Sometimes we're hiding. You begin concealing your brilliance, your gifts, your emotions, and your voice, right? Because they tell you, you talk too much or you're too much, right? So you figure, yeah, I got to shrink myself, especially if you're in a large family. Performing, identity becomes a script. You become who they need and not who you are. Now that's deep. Who do they need you to be? They need you to go to school. They need you to get good grades. They need you to go off to college, to get married. So you follow those roles, right? Yeah, that part. I know I did. Internal conflict. The inner self says, this is me. The learned self says, this is safer, right? You learn to do things to be safe, not to, be called out on the things that you say and do. You learn to shrink yourself, right? Loneliness. The soul longs for recognition, not praise and not attention, but being seen accurately, right? You just want to be seen. Yeah, that's deep. Imagine being in a family and you just want to be seen. It's like, yeah, they don't even know who I am, right? Yeah. Hyper responsibility. Your sun was dimmed so early that you learned to survive by becoming useful. How many of us in life really are doing things so we could be useful? That's deep. How many of us are doing things because we want people to value us? That's the truth, right? Identity and disruption. The original I am becomes split into I am who I must be versus I am who I truly am. The inner rupture becomes the foundation for every trauma that follows. Isn't that deep? As just thinking about that time and thinking about our mercurial years, it's like Mercury, everything is filtered through your Mercury card because Mercury is how we communicate. But Mercury is also where that trauma is housed. We communicate to everybody through our Mercury card, and we learn to communicate through our Mercury card. We learn how our parents, our siblings, early childhood, we learn how to communicate from the people around us. So think about that in your sun card. Think about the essence of your sun card. Think about what your sun card is, the attributes and all of that. And then start breaking it down and being more, get closer to your identity. What is your identity? Because the frequencies that we hold, the frequencies that we are deeper than the cards. The cards are something that help us, but there is so much more to us than the cards, than the planets. And we want to be able to experience it. Life is about experiences. But sometimes, the experiences aren't the best, but it's still an experience, and experiences are the teacher. Right. So, yeah, I want to get deep into the sun card, right? How the sun wound shapes our entire life. Once the sun wound is formed, every other planet, every other aspect of the psyche responds to it. Mercury fractures your thinking, Venus fractures your worth, Mars fractures your power, Jupiter fractures your possibility, and Saturn fractures your structure. Uranus fractures your stability. Neptune fractures your clarity, and Pluto fractures your survival identity. This is the solar descent. The soul traveling through 8 planetary gates, each shaped by the original wound of identity. Everything that hurts you later is simply a ripple from the first fracture. Isn't that delicious? That the first fracture, the first thing that happened, is something that we just replicate throughout life, throughout our life path, throughout everything. That is deep, right? So yeah, I want to be talking about that more, going deeper into that and being able to, help us to understand. So yep, just wanted to pop on here and give y'all a brief understanding of the next layers that I want to go into with the archetype. That's the new thing with me now. The archetypes and the gates. I've discovered so much, right? So y'all enjoy this amazing day, and I will see y'all out here in these streets, fam. Peace.